Welcome to the Fabric Masterclass 101, more about fabrics and how to select the right type of materials for your sewing projects, for your wardrobe that you're making for yourself as well as for clients. It's Friday, so today we're going to speak about something about sewing. And today I thought I'm going to speak about fabric, because I find that my students always say to me that they are so overwhelmed when they go into our very large fabric stores. And of course they're so attracted to all the beautiful shiny bling, big bold prints and all the different types of material, which is overwhelming because there's just so many beautiful fabrics out there and you're not sure which ones to take, and you might end up just buying because you just have fallen in love with such beautiful fabrics, textures, colors, prints, etc. And then just end up staying in your stash cupboard when you get back to your studio. So to avoid that, I'm going to try and educate you a bit more about fabric and how you can actually get yourself more educated as you are sewing your own garments or for clients. This is basically a progress of knowledge as you are working with fabric. It is very difficult to teach someone everything about material and expect them to walk out of a class and understand the fabric 100%. So it's definitely trial and error. Me as a fashion designer, when I was a student, I made disastrous mistakes choosing completely wrong materials for the wrong designs. But I learned the hard way and the most expensive way, but that was my lessons of how I knew fabrics, how I got to know fabrics a lot better, and my eye became very in tune to what type of fabrics would work best with my designs and even with commercial patterns. And also when I see a client and they want to order made up, I can also understand their body shape, and with the design we've discussed which materials will look best on that body shape for my client as well as for my own wardrobe. So let's get started. If you enjoy this kind of content that I'm sharing with you, how about giving me some love and a thumbs up and press that like button below as well as subscribe button to help my algorithms grow so I can help me grow my channel. Thank you. Step one would be, if you have already got a commercial pattern that you're taking with to the fabric store, that will really give you a great guideline. So let's have a look at a pattern, for instance. So you basically got a commercial pattern. Let's just pull one out. Here is a birder pattern, and at the back of the cover it's telling you what fabric to go and buy, suggesting for this particular garment. So here it tells me linen blends, jacquard and cotton fabrics. So immediately I know, if I just look at this picture, the material is a little bit more firmer. It's not soft and flowing type of material. So that already gives you a good indication of what kind of fabrics you need to get for this particular pattern. And when you're not sure of fabrics, I suggest that follow the suggestions behind the actual pattern cover, because the designer, the pattern maker, is aware of what materials will work best for this particular design. As you're going along and you're buying material and you're making, I do suggest that you create yourself a swatch file. I have spoken about this before in my previous videos. So you create a little swatch file of all the little samples that you have used, and maybe even a picture of the garment that you've made in that fabric. Or you can even just put it, often what I do is I'll take a little piece of material and actually slide it into my pattern pack, so I know that when I'm in the future, when I want to make something similar, what did I make the last time with that pattern? And I can remember straight away by identifying that fabric, what fabric I used, what color I used, and what kind of look, and immediately I can remember, was it a great fit? Did I was happy with that design? So it's a quick, like your memory just comes back to you very quickly. When I go into a fabric store, I always take my sketch designs with me. So either you take your pattern with you, or you pre-plan some sketches and ideas of what you're going to be making, because you really do have the existing patterns, or you're going to take a few patterns and create your own design. Once I bought the material, I always put the samples, little sample swatches, inside my actual design and my pattern pack. My pattern is now inside here that I've already made. So I can always remember what I did with this particular design and garment. And also when I'm busy making my garments and I'm doing a collection, I normally put them onto my board with my sketches and my swatches. I can see the overall collection that I'm making. This will apply for you making yourself a wardrobe as well. Swatch file would definitely be a great benefit for you to learn more and more as you're going along with your fabric knowledge journey. Let's talk about different types of material, because when you are still new and you're not 100% certain of fabrics, you might be very attracted to look at, sort of, let's give you an example. This looks like a zebra print, okay? So this zebra print is stunning, but now it's very deceiving, because in this print, there are stripes. So when you're making this garment, you've got to keep in mind, okay, what pattern, what design do I have? Because do you want the stripes to go all the way down, which is definitely more slimming? And when you're putting your pattern together, you've got to make sure that the lines are basically running the same direction, because if you lay the material this way, you can see the stripe is going horizontal. The stripes to go this way in the garment, you would need to make sure that your side seams and your panels are all connected. The same design is continuing the flow. Let's have a look at this floral. So this is a Duchess satin. It's quite a thick, crisp satin. There's no stretch at all. So now there's got big flowers on it. I'm going to be making a jacket with a princess panel line down the front. And I need to make sure that when I'm lining my front panel and my side front panel, that for instance, this particular rose needs to be aligned in that panel, which you can't have half a rose sitting up here and the other half sitting there at the bottom, because that absolutely looks unprofessional. So if you were to buy something like this, you would need to maybe jackets. Now, for example, there's got no panels, it's basically just a straight cut. Or it's a dress that only has maybe a dart in and not panels, so that the continuation of the design of this print is still flowing, is not chopped up and broken. When you're looking at patterns that require knits, so if you have a pattern that tells you that you need to buy material with a knit or a spandex in it, which is a bodysuit, here is a bodysuit, and then here is a dress and a soft jacket, okay? Now, so immediately you can tell that this is very body hugging, so it needs to have quite a bit of stretch in it. And the back of your pattern will even show you how to take about 10 centimeters of the fabric and to stretch it along this guideline to see if it has enough stretch. And it tells you a stretch velvet, stretch lame, spandex blends, and a jersey. So that has a lot of stretch. This will be a two-way stretch. So it'll be a two-way fabric. It'll be basically have a stretch across the welt and the weft of the fabric. Now this one here isn't as fitted, but it is a little bit more body hugging around the bust area and the midriff area. So this particular pattern, we are talking about suggestive fabrics. It's also to do with stretch knits, jerseys, lightweight double knits, stretch velvet, also a two-way stretch. Now, let's say you've got these stretch fabric patterns and you've only got a woven material. It will definitely not work out if you are going to be using woven material for your knit fabrics, for your knit patterns. The other thing is, if you are going to use a knit fabric that only has one-way stretch, the garments will not fit you either, because you need to have a stretch across both parts of the body, both directions, for you to be able to move. Kind of stick to the guidelines of what the patterns are suggesting for you. Particular stretch is a spandex. All right, so this is a spandex fabric, but it has a foil print on the front. So if I stretch it this way, you can actually see that the foil is busy cracking. If I stretch this way, it seems to move with the stretch of the fabric. So you've got to keep in mind that this is a particular spandex that you can't make it a very, very tight fit on your client or on yourself, because after a while this foil will actually start to crack and actually split open, and the garment will basically be ready for the bin because you won't be able to wear it. It'll look like it's old and tatty. Here is a knit which has got sequins, that little sequins, little sort of blend in the fabric. So it's nice and soft. It's very easy to sew with. And you can see that the one direction has a lot less stretch and this side has much more stretch. So the needles you're going to be using is also keeping it very simple. You're going to use stretch needles and jersey knit needles for when you're working with stretch fabrics, and woven needles which you'll be using for your woven fabrics according to the thickness of the material. Like denim, you could use a size 14 to size 16. You know, materials like this is more like a linen base. You could use basically a size 10 or a 12 size needle. Just one more thing to share with you is that if you have a pattern that you want to make up that's very soft and flowy, pick up the material and sort of wave it and have a look. Is it soft and is it flowing? Because that'll be ideal for that particular style garment that you want to make. If it's a structured jacket, then start looking at more fabric that is for suiting, more for maybe, you know, a fabric that have got a wool mix perhaps, depending on the season and your climate where you're living, or maybe look at adding lining to it if you want to make a tailored jacket. So it needs to be a bit more firm with the fabric. Always look at the back of your pattern to give you those suggestive ideas of what fabrics to choose. This will definitely make a big difference for you to help you to become more educated with your fabric. And believe me, you're going to mess up. You are going to, you know, buy the wrong material for the wrong design, or the right design but the wrong fabric, but that's going to happen. That's how you basically learn as well. I'm a fashion designer and I have over 34 years experience making garments for clients, custom designing, supplying boutiques, having a few of my own boutiques down the line, as well as I've got my own pattern collection, which you can also have a look on my website. I will leave the links down below, as well as some courses which are coming up, professional patterns that you can use for home use as well as professional use, which are all pre-graded and been tested.